Hi everyone, Samantha Bueller here with the Powell Bueller Group, residential real estate agent in the Central Ohio market with Coldwell banker King Thompson, and today I'm here to do a video I'm really excited about. It is going to be a guide for a home buyer from start to finish. Now, real quick, the reason I decided to do this video is because over the years I've worked with a lot of first-time home buyers, and I constantly catch myself repeating the same thing to that client over and over. And obviously that's not the client's fault. A real estate transaction has a lot of moving parts going on, and it can be very overwhelming at times. So I'm hoping this video can be a resource for my clients and really any consumer out there that is looking to buy a house. Maybe it's your first time, or maybe it's been a few years, and let's just be honest, you forget what happens next. Alright, so step number one. Set up a time to meet with a real estate professional if you have not done that already. So the reason you want to do this is because you want to discuss with your agent, get on the same page so you can make a game plan moving forward. You need them to understand your time frames, if you're in a lease, when you're going to be out of that lease, how long it takes to close on a home, and then the fun part, obviously, you want to discuss what type of home or condo you are looking for. You know, what locations you want to be in, what price range you're thinking about, and all those fun scenarios. Also, you want to make sure they know any deal breakers that is just, it's not going to happen if this house has railroads in the backyard. So make sure your agent is aware of that. Step number two. And one of the most important steps in the whole process, before going to look at any homes, you want to get pre-approved with a lender. So what that means is you are going to get some recommendations for some lenders. Maybe your agent will give you a recommendation. I know we always do that because we have trusted lenders that we work with on a daily basis that we know will get the job done. Or maybe it's a family member or a friend, and it's always great to check with multiple lenders to make sure you're getting a good rate and a good deal. So the information they're going to need is your date of birth, where you've lived the last 2 years, your employment for the last 2 years, your monthly income, and then they will also ask for your social security number. And that is just so they can pull your credit score. And once they have that information, they can plug it in their computers and come back and tell you what your price range would be. Now, a good thing to do when you're getting pre-approved is tell the lender where you would like to be for a monthly budget, what you want your mortgage payment to be. So that's going to be everything, PMI, taxes, insurance, all that jazz. That would be your monthly payment. Let them know what your budget looks like for that payment, and then they can work backwards and let you know what price point you need to be at. And also they will include your down payment and closing costs, which are lender fees that a buyer is responsible for at closing. Once you get pre-approved, step number 3. Get out and see some homes. This is the fun part. So once you've been pre-approved and you've met with your agent, you guys know what you're trying to accomplish. At that point, they will set you up on a search, so you will be getting automatic updates for the marketplace and the criteria that you guys have listed. And when you see a home you like, or maybe there's a couple that you want to get a feel for, set up a time with your agent to go out and do some house tours. And this is important because you're not going to know exactly what you want just from looking online. Pictures can be deceiving. They can make the house look way better than it is, or they can make it look way worse than it is, so you really got to get out there and see some homes. So step number 4. Time to make an offer! So you've been out to see a lot of homes and you finally have found the one. You can feel it in your heart. You know you want to live there and you can see yourself starting a new chapter of your life there. So at this point, there is a lot of things that you want to go over with your agent before making that offer. And the first thing you're going to want to do is talk to your lender. That way we don't get ahead of ourselves and we know that the payments for this house can be achieved with what you're trying to stay in the budget with. And once you figure that out, then your real estate agent, I always like to provide comparable sales to my clients for that neighborhood. I want them to have all the information up front so they can make the most educated decision possible on a price for that offer. I will educate them on the market conditions. You know, if this is a fast-paced market, I will give them the average days on the market of the houses in that area so we know if we gotta make decisions quickly, we can do that. And another really important thing is I'm gonna be talking to that listing agent. That's gonna be the agent who is representing the seller. So I want to talk to them and get some information. I want to know, you know, why are they selling? Do they have another house that they are going to be moving into already? What do their time frames look like on moving? Do they need a long closing period or are they ready to get this thing wrapped up? So these are good things to understand before making an offer so that if we are in a competitive scenario, we can give the best offer for that seller. So once you have all of that information in front of you and you've kind of, whether you're an analyzer or you are a gut person, you'll have all those all that information at your fingertips to make an educated decision. And obviously I will guide you through that process, or your agent will let you know what their professional opinion is. So let's talk about an offer. This is really important to know before you make an offer. Let's talk about what's in that contract because it is a legal binding document. So you need to know what you're signing. And nowadays we can sign online, we can dot loop it, we can DocuSign and click a button and we're done. It's like we don't even have to read the contract. So that can be really scary for a real estate agent. That's why I want to take a little bit of time to make sure you understand, you know, what it means to be in contract on a house. So number one, the first thing is that it is contingent on a home inspection. This is something that is going to be the best money you can spend on a house because I'm not an inspector. You're probably not an inspector. We just don't know what's going on behind the walls of the house. We don't know what's up in the attic. We don't know the electrical. We don't know the plumbing situation. We want to make sure that this is a safe house that you're buying. So the contract is contingent on you, and this is a buyer's expense, to pay for those tests and inspections. So a home inspection, a pest inspection to make sure you don't have wood-boring insects, and then also radon testing can be done as well. Those tests can range anywhere from $300 to $500 for a buyer's out-of-pocket expense that they paid that inspector. It's very rare that you're going to do these inspections and find out that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the house. So typically what's going to happen is there's going to be a good list of things that need fixed, and we will discuss that and come to some kind of list that we feel good about. I'm gonna type it up for you. We're going to ask for, you know, electricians to do electrical work, plumbers to do plumbing work. We want it to be all certified people that know what they're doing for that particular issue with the house, and we'll send it over to the seller. They may sign it and say yes, we'll do it all. They may come back and say no, we don't think it's fair to ask for number 2 and number 5, and then we will negotiate that list until we come to an agreement. Now at this point, if there's something that the seller is not willing to budge on and you are not willing to compromise on, then you can terminate the contract if we can't come to an agreement with the seller. So it's contingent on the home inspection. But let's just say that we come to an agreement, they are going to fix some things for us, and we are on to the next stage in the process. Your contract is also contingent on your loan. So that means that you have to provide the lender with lots of documentation so they can prove that you can afford this home and you're not going to default on the mortgage. They're going to ask for your W-2s, your tax returns, your pay stubs, and you may send some stuff in and they may come back and say, I need more, or I need this. It's just going to be a good idea to expect that this process is going to be tedious. So let's say you've got all your paperwork in and you're good to go. Now, your loan is also contingent on an appraisal. So that means that your lender is going to send someone out to the house that you want to buy, and they are going to take all the data for the house and plug it into a formula and come back with a number and say either, yes, your home is worth the value that you're purchasing it for, or they could say, no, we believe that you're, $5,000 over what we think the market says this home is worth. Now, if it does come in under the purchase price, this is when we need to talk. You can only get the loan for the amount that the appraisal is for. So if it is $5,000 less than what the purchase price is, that means that either A, you're gonna have to bring $5,000 more to closing to get this house, B, the seller is going to have to come down $5,000 in the purchase price for you to be able to get this loan, or C, you can come to an agreement with the seller where, let's say, you split the difference. You'll bring $2,500 and they will come down $2,500. So those are the three options that could happen, and since it is contingent on your loan, it is also possible that if the seller's not going to budge and you don't want to bring the cash to closing, or you might not have that cash to bring to closing, that is another point in time where the contract can be terminated. So we're contingent on a home inspection and we're contingent on your loan. If for some reason you lost your job in the middle of this process, heaven forbid, then that would also be another reason that the contract would be terminated, because you wouldn't have the same income as you did when you were pre-approved. So those are some scenarios that can happen during the process of buying a house once you are in contract. Okay, so let's say the inspection is done, paperwork is signed, appraisal came back, we are good to go, you have all your paperwork in, and we're about a week out from closing. Now there's a couple things that are going to take place before you actually get to that closing day. Number one, your lender is going to be sending you your final closing disclosure. This is going to look very similar to some paperwork you have already seen, and it will have your final numbers on them, and you will need to sign that, make sure everything looks as the lender had anticipated it would look. If you have any questions, obviously let them know. Sign it, send it back to them, and then we will do a final walkthrough of the house prior to closing, and that is just a chance for you to make sure that all of the repairs have been done. We will get the paid invoices from anything the seller said they would complete. We want to make sure those have been paid in full. You will also want to get the utilities transferred into your name. So I or your realtor would give you their utility companies so you can call them or go online, get it transferred in just to make sure they don't get shut off. So you want to do that prior to closing. Now at the final walkthrough, we're just making sure that the house looks as it did when you saw it last. So nothing crazy has happened. They haven't punched any holes in the wall or anything like that. Now after that's completed, your closing will take place during the weekdays, Monday through Friday. That is when title companies are open, and anywhere between the hours of 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So keep that in mind. You are gonna have to take off some work to get the closing done. It takes about 1 hour, and you will come in, bring your driver's license, bring your signing hand ready to sign away. You're going to be signing a lot of different documents. Some pertain to the title company, and most of them are for your lender. So that's going to be your loan package, another closing disclosure, and the mortgage, the title of the house, the survey of the house, and many other paperwork. And your a title person will be there to walk you through all the paperwork, so don't feel nervous about it. It is pretty standard. And another thing, real quick, want to mention how funds are collected at closing. So it used to be you could bring a check to closing and the title company would take that check after you've signed all your paperwork, but Ohio has changed the laws, and now you do have to wire your funds to the title company prior to closing. So once you get that final number, the closing disclosure that your lender sends you a week before, you will go to your bank. The title company will provide you with wiring instructions. You will take that to your bank and tell them how much money you need wired and when your closing is. And then it's good to do that at least a day before closing, because it can take some time to transfer the funds. And you don't want to be at closing and you can't get the keys yet because you're waiting for the funds to get there. So it's pretty simple. You may be wondering, what is a title company and who are they? Why am I wiring half my life savings to this company? What's their job? So a title company, they are picked by the seller, and they are there to handle all of the funds for closing and also make sure that the house has a clear title, there are no encroachments, the survey looks good, they handle all the paperwork with the lender. You want to make sure you know the day that you take possession of the house. Now, if it's a vacant house, then you will get possession at closing, and depending on your contract, you could be getting possession at closing. That just means when you can actually move into the house and the seller will be completely vacated. There are many cases where you could have a couple days or so after closing before you can actually take ownership, move into the house. Alright, you guys, that is gonna wrap it up. I hope this video gave you some knowledge. After all, knowledge is power, and I hope that you will be confident going into this process, as it can be really, really fun, especially when you know the expectations ahead of time. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I will put my email address on the screen. Feel free to contact me with any further questions. Thank you so much for watching, and if you know someone that could benefit from this video, please send it their way. Thanks so much, and make it a great day. Bye.